Welcome back, Chocolatiers, to another video. Last night, I watched Rebel Ridge on Netflix, a movie directed by Jeremy Saltinier, I think that's how you pronounce his name, and he's done films that you probably have not watched, but are very excellent, such as Murder Party, Blue Ruin, and The Green Room. Now, those movies are, if you like those type of movies, if you have seen those movies, this is kind of what you're getting, except more of a budget, which I actually really like because he's a good director, underrated director. Now, before I get into the full plot of the movie, I do want to get into why I was excited for this movie because this director. So, a few years ago, when I worked at the movie theater I was at, my close friend told me that one of his favorite movies of all time was Blue Ruin. And we screened it one night. We put it up on on one of the projectors in one of the theaters, and that movie blew me away. I think it's like a 9 out of 10 easy. I was like, I love this movie. It's really good. And just last year, I had the pleasure of watching Green Room and most of Murder Party. I can't really find it on anything, but I've seen like half of it. I think it was on YouTube or whatever, like last year. I think it was on Twitter, actually. No, people were like, you remember like during like the post-COVID shit. So actually, this was a couple years ago, where people were like putting whole movies on Twitter. And so never finished it, but I did enjoy most of what I was watching. But this movie is about a Marine ex-Marine who comes into a small town to bail his cousin out of jail. And he basically gets overtaken by corrupt police who take his bail money. He takes $30,000 in with him in a backpack. He doesn't have like a vehicle or anything like that. And even like that, stuff like that in this movie I really like because it kind of shows you without telling you. So like when you get scenes like where he's like on his bike at the beginning and like multiple times in the movie where he's on his bike, you kind of get the gist of, oh, this man isn't necessarily like living this way by choice. It's probably because of how a lot of our veterans come back and how they're kind of treated. And so he gets his $30,000 and his cousin's bail is $10,000, and he's gonna use $26,000, or not 26, but $20,000 of it to basically like buy them a dually and take them away from there, drive them somewhere else, and basically try to get some sense into them, and they can just kind of live, live and do what men needed to be doing, not doing what his cousin was doing, the reason why he's in jail. And this movie kind of hit close to home. So if you haven't watched it, you guys should. The Chocolate Vanilla Podcast. We talk a lot about how we live in like a small racist town, and it's not as bad as how it's portrayed in that movie, but it did hit a little close to home where you sit there and think, are they really in for your best interest? Half the people in this town, probably not, right? And so I really like to see how they have like this dynamic in the movie where they have a cop work on the force, who's a black woman. And I actually really liked how they kept portraying her, because I feel like in a lot of situations that's how it is. You have, her seeing this crazy shit happen, knowing what they're doing, and she's condoning it, okay? Because it's but even like in a way, it's almost like she kind of has to, because what power does she have? They're gonna do the same shit to her if she tries to go up against them. So it's kind of like this weird like push and pull. And the main character, our Marine that we follow, I love him so much. He does such a good job. I'm blanking on his name right now, but pardon me. I watched the movie at 2 a.m. But his dynamic with all the cops. So the lead cop is played by Don Johnson, and he does such a phenomenal performance playing this corrupt chief. And actually, just hit me. I do remember the character's name, Terry. It finally hit me. And just his dynamic with him when they find out what he does, because there's a scene in the movie that I really like. It's early on. It's like the first 30 minutes in, where basically they're kind of like realizing, they're looking him up. They're like, oh, he has no combat experience. He's not this and that. Until they realize that he is like the jiu-jitsu like instructor, and he teaches people how to go over there and kill people. And so he's very good with hand-to-hand combat in this movie, and the action scenes are just shot so well. Everything's pretty realistic for the most part, the way things are handled, the way fights are shot, the way things are filmed. And I really think that Jeremy, the director, he has a vision and an eye for that. So like I said, if you've seen Green Room, or if you've seen Blue Ruin, if you haven't, I say that you go watch those movies. If you liked Rebel Ridge, go watch those movies now. Especially Green Room, I think it's on HBO Max. I don't know if you can find Rebel Ridge anywhere. Like I said, my friend had a DVD of that, so we watched it like that, so I was lucky. But I would say, comparing movies-wise, this movie's closer to Blue Ruin as far as like the action, the way it's filmed, stuff like that. Green Room's more kind of like one location. But I do think it's funny that he's now made 2 movies about corrupt racist people. So, because Green Room is about a rock band who goes and plays for these neo-Nazis, and basically shit kind of goes down, shit kind of gets crazy, and they try to escape, but they end up holding them hostage because they're like witness to like a murder, and it's one of the craziest fucking movies I've seen. And it's very good. Like I said, if you like this movie, then you'll love those. But back on the topic of this movie, we have Anna Sophia, blanking on her last name, but she's the girl that from Bridge of Terabithia, the only movie that can make me cry, and Because of Winn-Dixie, another really good movie. She's in this movie playing a kind of like, I guess, the heart of the movie, because outside of the cousin, she tries to help Terry through his, trying to get his money back that they steal for the bail, and trying to kind of fight back, but once again, she can't really do shit because she has her own motivations and goals in this movie, because her daughter, they took custody of her because she used to be on drugs, and so she can't really fight back because these corrupt cops are going to be like, hey, we're going to take your kid away from you permanently and make sure you have no visiting, or, this and that. And so I really liked what they did with her character, and how almost halfway in she kind of becomes like the heart of the movie. You kind of like really care about what happens to her more so than Terry. You want Terry to get these sons of bitches, but on top of that, you're like, hey, don't hurt my girl, right? And just the way that everything's handled, just the emotional heights this movie takes, when you see a strong black man on a mission, and as I like to call him in this whole movie, it's Black Rambo. So if you've seen the first Rambo movie, that's what this movie is, but a black man. Actually, less murder. So that's another thing I really liked too. I really liked how, unlike a whole lot of other movies like this, where the man would have killed the whole town and took over and this, I really liked how this was more akin to like, kind of like a, I'm blanking on the fucking movie. Walking Tall. I had to look it up because I wasn't going to end this video without being like, dude, what the hell is this movie called? But it feels kind of like that, where you have somebody coming into like a corrupt town trying to clean it up. But unlike that movie, he's not trying to stay here. He's not trying to do this, that. He has no ties to this town. It's more just he's tired of their shit. Like even like that. At one point in the movie, early on, so this ain't a spoiler, just early on, he even tries to make a deal with these cops where he's like, just give me $10K so I could post bail for my cousin, and y'all keep the rest of the money, please. And they still won't do right. Like, it's like shit like that you see makes you so mad, because you're like, this ain't even your money, and he's telling you can keep it just so you guys can leave him the fuck alone. And they still won't do it. And when you just see how hateful some of these people are in this movie, like there's like one cop, he's kind of a no-name, I don't think they say his name one time. He's just such an asshole in this movie, and like you just want him to have his ass beat so bad. I know a couple of those little cocky little bastard, got a gun so he thinks he's top shit. And so I love this movie so much. I adored it. September is out here slapping. I see y'all. First week in September, y'all out here busting moves. Beetlejuice, Front Room, Rebel Ridge. Dude, next week is Speak No Evil and The Killer's Game with Dave Bautista. Even though Killer's Game doesn't look like a 10 out of 10, it looks like it's going to be fun. Like a fun 7, 7.5. I'll take it, bro. Anything better than the shit we got in August, okay? Because I'm not saying every movie was shit in August. Like, we got stuff like The Forge, which I have not reviewed, but mini review for you guys. I actually really enjoyed that movie. I think I would give that movie a 7.5 or 8. Not really giving a score on it because I'm not making a full review on it, but I did enjoy that movie. But, you know, outside of every Alien, we got a Borderlands. You know, we got other shit. I'm not going to sit here and name all of them. We had shitty movies last month. But we are starting out strong, and I'm loving it. Netflix, I wish this would have came in theaters, but I'm not going to bitch too much because we got it. As long as I got to witness it for myself and see it. I do wish there would be a physical release, though. I hate there's not going to be. I'd buy that fucking steelbook too quick. I'm going to give Rebel Ridge a 9.5 out of 10. I think this movie is solid. I'm going to also give it a Mr. Chocolate Seal of approval. The only reason why it's not getting a full 10 out of 10 is because there's a couple things in the movie I didn't fully enjoy, and it's one of those movies that just kind of ends. You appreciate the ending for what it does, but at the same time, I'm one of those people. I don't need to see more. Like I said, this movie does well in showing and not telling, but the way it ends, you're like, okay, anything could happen. It's very fucking vague. But outside of that, it's damn near perfect. It's one of my favorite movies of the year now. Go check this shit out. It's #1 on Netflix for a reason right now. It's only been out like a day or two. Go watch this hoe. And with that, please like and subscribe for more if you want more content from your boy, Mr. Chocolate. And with that, I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Let's not do that.
Chief! I love my popcorn. Movies, popcorn.